What is tax? Squirrel works at the nut farm. At the end of the week, Squirrel is paid 100 acorn leaves, nut money. Squirrel is happy. It's not much, but it's honest work. But Squirrel only receives 80 leaves. The forest government takes 20 leaves. That 20 leaves is called tax. Tax is simply a portion of Squirrel's leaves that must be given to the forest government. Every squirrel in the forest pays tax whether they like it or not. Wait! You're taking my nuts? This is nut robbery. Why do we pay taxes? The forest government needs leaves to run the woodland. Taxes pay for things every animal needs. Treehouse housing, hospitals for injured paws, forest schools, owl police, firefighter beavers, military gorillas, libraries of ancient bark scrolls, trash clean-up leaf beetles, forest buses and log trains, retirement homes for wise old squirrels. Squirrels' taxes help the entire forest live safely. Types of taxes. Income tax. Forest takes leaves straight from your paycheck. Sales tax. Extra leaf charged when buying acorns. Property tax. Buy a treehouse. Pay the forest government. Capital gains tax. Sell treehouse for more. Pay extra tax. Corporate tax. Big nut companies pay tax too. Inheritance tax. Squirrel pays tax for nuts inherited. Environmental tax. Higher tax for harming the forest. Luxury tax. Fancy stuff equals extra leaves paid. Tariffs. Tax on goods from other forests. Tax brackets. How much should squirrel pay? The more squirrel earns, the more tax squirrel pays. This is called tax brackets. Common mistake. Squirrel thinks if they enter a higher bracket, all their leaves are taxed at that rate. Wrong. Only the leaves within that bracket get taxed higher. It's like a nut ladder. Each step has its own tax rate. How tax is collected. If squirrel works for someone. Taxes are automatically taken from squirrel's leaves. If squirrel is a freelancer or business owner, squirrel must tell the forest government how much they earned. This is called a tax return. How to do a tax return. Squirrel must 1. Count how many leaves they earned. 2. Find out how much tax was already paid. 3. Subtract deductions. Work-related expenses. Examples of deductions. Nut-picking gloves. Tool belt. Courses on advanced nut storage. Travel to berry conferences. Donations to squirrel charities. If squirrel paid too much, squirrel gets a refund. If squirrel paid too little, squirrel must pay more. Tax audit. If something looks suspicious, owl auditors investigate. Why is this written so tiny? Are you hiding nuts from us? Auditor owl. What if squirrel doesn't pay taxes? First, a warning. Then, interest grows. Then, leaves are taken. Finally, prison treehouse. How rich squirrels reduce taxes. Rich squirrels use capital gains, less tax than normal income. Dividends, also taxed less. Negative gearing, buying a treehouse, losing money, but paying less tax. Offshore nut companies, low tax forests. How to make taxes less scary. Make a budget. Track deductible expenses. Hire a professional squirrel accountant if needed. Some accountant fees are even tax deductible. Taxes can feel like something being taken from squirrel, but they're also what keeps the forest around squirrel running. Understanding them doesn't make them smaller, but it does make squirrels smarter.